Hi, this is Eddie with the Mindful Emergence, where Margaret and we try to offer content and programs that help people in their personal healing, spiritual transformation. And a lot of my videos lately have been on how to use cannabis safely, intentionally, regardless of what it's for, whether it's pain management, creativity, relaxation, working with anxiety, depression, or using it as support for meditation, yoga, whatever it is. But one of the things that a lot of people are interested in is knowing how to use cannabis for sleep. And I've been thinking about doing one on sleep for a while. And then I got a couple of requests in the comments to do one. And then I just got off the phone with a lovely woman from Long Island talking about this. And I thought, hey, let me just bust out this video. And by the way, you're wondering, what's with the hat? Well, I decided to change up the hats, a little bit of variety here. This one I got in Istanbul about 25 years ago. Pretty interesting city. Go and check it out if you ever get a chance. So you might see a couple of different hats. But let's talk about sleep. All right. These videos seem to be getting a lot of attention, particularly for seniors. And a lot of seniors have problems with sleeping. I'm not one of them. I am so blessed. I sleep so well almost all the time. And frankly, it doesn't matter what cannabis I use. I can smoke a really strong sativa and man, I'll sleep great. Okay. But for a lot of people, um, they have to be really picky about what they use. So let me go through some suggestions that I have on how to use cannabis for sleep. Okay. So the first thing I want to say is if you've watched my videos, you know I lean towards flower. And one of the reasons is that you're getting the full spectrum of the plant. You're getting all the cannabinoids, all the terpenes, flavonoids, and so on. And so you're getting that entourage effect where they're all working together synergistically. The analogy I make is like a symphony orchestra, okay? Now, the other benefit of flower is that when you go into a dispensary, typically you can get more information about what you're getting. You can get a certificate of analysis that breaks down what's happening. And it might be particularly helpful for this because I'm going to suggest some specific cannabinoids and terpenes that you look for. All right. And I know not all of you smoke or dry flower vape, so I'm going to talk a little bit about tinctures and gummies after that. So let's talk about flour. Now, one of the advantages of flour is that you have that instant effect. Most people, within 5 minutes or so, you're already getting the benefit of this flour. Now, it may not have peaked yet, but you're already starting to feel it. That's the problem with gummies. You got to wait a long time for them to kick in. All right, flour, it's automatic. Now, the when you're buying flour, here's one tip that I strongly suggest. Don't get THC with big numbers. Stay away from the stuff that's got 30% THC. I suggest, in general, that you go for lower numbers. And for sleep, definitely get something in the 15 to 18% THC. All right. And this will show up in the certificate of analysis if it's not clearly evident in the packaging of the product. Now, here's something else. THC is a major cannabinoid of cannabis, right? The other major cannabinoid is CBD. You want CBD, okay? You want THC and CBD. The CBD has a way of mitigating the psychoactive effect of THC that for many people can contribute to anxiety. Ideally, I think it would be great to get THC and CBD in a 1-to-1 ratio. All right. But at least you need to get some CBD. And this is hard because the way the growers are harvesting this stuff, growing it, is that they're getting rid of the CBD in a lot of the flower while they're jacking up the THC because a lot of people, especially younger people, are going in and they want to get blasted. They want the big high. And that's okay. You know, they can do whatever they want. But for you wanting to sleep, you want low THC and high CBD. All right. Now, one option you have, if you're struggling to find flour that has good CBD numbers, is if you can, buy separate CBD flower. It's non-psychoactive, but you can take some CBD flower and mix it with your regular THC, the regular stuff that you got. Okay. So there's a suggestion. Um, so a second thing you want to look at is you want to look at other cannabinoids in the product. Ideally, you would be great if you could get some CBN along with the CBD. CBN. The N for some people, they remember that is nap. CBN is the cannabinoid that seems to be most helpful for helping people sleep. So see if you can get CBN. Maybe hard to get in a flower, but might be easier, ironically, to get it in a tincture or gummy. We'll talk about that a little bit later. All right. So see if you can get CBN. Now, let's talk about terpenes. I did a whole video on why terpenes are important. If you haven't watched it and you're confused about terpenes, I recommend that you watch that one. Terpenes are aromatic compounds that do have an effect on us when we ingest cannabis. And you want to be able to pick the right terpenes. Some terpenes are energizing, some of them are sedating. You want the sedating ones. And the one that is particularly prominent, that's pretty easy to find, is myrcene. Okay, Myrcene. Myrcene you want. Another good terpene that is more sedative is linalool. Okay, linalool is good. Humulene is another one. All right. Now, you may also find caryophyllene in there. Caryophyllene is a cannabinoid that's particularly good for inflammation, and it seems to have this effect. You'll see it mixed with other terpenes, and it sort of has an effect of improving the overall effect of all of the terpenes together, if that makes any sense. Stay away from limonene and pinene. I love limonene and pinene. That's what I want because when I buy flower, I want the strong sativas. That's me. Okay? If you're wanting flower for sleep, you don't want limonene and pinene. So avoid that. Shoot for the myrcene, the linalool. Now, people ask me, like, what strains to get? Well, the thing about strains is it's tricky because any grower can name their flower anything they want. And if there's a catchy strain that's real popular and they get close to that in their flower that they're growing, they'll just go ahead and slap that name on there. There's no governing agency, there's no oversight where they come in and go, wait a minute, you can't do that. So be careful with just trusting the strain name. But one strain that seems to be very common among the indicas that you're looking for is Kush, Kush. So if they've got Kush, take a look at that and see if that's got what you want. There's almost certainty it's going to have myrcene in it. All right. If it doesn't have myrcene and it's got limonene, then I don't really understand. But you gotta look at this. And if you got a good bud tender who will pull up a COA, you can start getting into this. So that's my suggestion on flower. Now, if you have the ability to smell the flower, and I know at a lot of dispensaries you can't do that. I guess legal ones you can't do that. At least that's what I'm hearing in the comments. But if you can smell it, myrcene has kind of a musky smell. If when they take the lid off and hold it out and you put your nose down there and it explodes in a lemony smell, well, that's limonene. That's not what you want. You want that musky kind of smell if it's noticeable. So let's talk about gummies, all right, edibles. So gummies in this case, there's a good side and a bad side. The bad side, the problem with gummies is they take forever. They take an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. So if you're thinking, well, I want to go to bed at a certain time, then you got to figure out I got to take it way ahead of time. I know a lot of people take gummies for sleep management and it works great. But don't just go and get Delta 9, get 10 milligrams of Delta 9 just blindly because there's a very good chance you're going to be high for a while. Look for gummies that specifically have high CBN and CBD if you can. All right. Now, there is a company, I'm going to mention them by name. They don't pay me. I'm not getting any compensation, but I like them. They're called Fire Tree Organics. They're down here in Western North Carolina. And they do make gummies that are specific for sleep with CBD and CBN. Now, the other side of that is you're going to have to invest about $35 plus some tax and shipping. Got to pay tax anyway, but it's more of an initial investment. It's something that you haven't used before if you go and get gummies because they sell them by the jar or the bag. Whereas with a flower, you can perhaps go in and just get a gram, which you might be able to get for as low as $10. So there's that kind of thing to consider too. But gummies can be really good. And the nice thing I like about Fire Tree is they're really clean. So make sure that you're getting real clean. Look at the ingredients, and if it's got all kinds of funky coloring in there and tons of sugar and all this kind of stuff, well, it's just not healthy, in my opinion. Tinctures are another option, and the benefit of tinctures is they don't come on quite as fast as smoking, but they come on pretty fast, usually in about 15 minutes, a lot faster than gummies. And there are tinctures that you can get in various places that do have CBN and CBD. So you want to make sure, though, in all of these that the THC levels are really low. Okay, so low THC, if any, maybe a little, and then CBN and CBD. So I know that probably doesn't answer every question. There's stuff I'm not covering, but that's my experience. Again, I don't do any of this for sleep management because I don't need to. But I've studied this, I've talked to a lot of people, I've gotten advice from some pretty well-informed users of cannabis, and hopefully that's helpful to you. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for giving us a thumbs up. Love the comments. I hope I can keep up with them. I'm really trying. And I'm just going to keep pumping out these videos because the responses I'm getting, I didn't realize that as many people are going to watch this as they are. And it's just very gratifying to me to see how many people are getting value from these. So I'm going to keep doing it because I'm having fun doing it too. So I'll see you next video and next hat.